Welcome back, everyone. Got a kiss from Liliana. We are feeling awesome. Alright, let's talk to Win.
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you?
I suppose it's about killing as many Darkspawn as possible.
There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men.
You mean to say I serve as a protector?
As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they.
I suppose that makes sense.
A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant.
So, in a way, having power confines you.
If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome.
I like Win.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you?
You know about Liliana and me? Liliana and I! Oh my goodness.
I've seen the way she looks at you, the familiarity with which you speak, how she always finds a way to place herself next to you.
She does do that, doesn't she? I like being with Liliana.
I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Liliana is a remarkable girl, sincere and guileless, and she has opened her heart to you. I would not like to see her hurt.
I'd never hurt Liliana.
Not intentionally, no. But there is great potential for tragedy here, for one or both of you. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires.
I can handle my responsibilities and my relationships.
Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do?
I don't want to have to make that choice.
Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this.
I'll consider what you have said.
I am just trying to minimize the suffering that may come to either of you. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
Zevran.
Here I am.
I want to discuss something personal.
Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss?
Never mind.
Here I am.
Some questions.
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Why did you want to leave the crows exactly?
Well, now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So,
Oh.
if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it?
You didn't choose to join the crows?
To be truthful, I didn't even know the crows existed when I joined them. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased, for 3 sovereigns, I'm told, which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder, and if you do poorly in your training, you die.
And that system works?
Of course. You compete against your fellow assassins, and those who survive are rightfully proud of it. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining.
I think I understand.
As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go.
I am happy to have you along, Severin.
And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
Cool. Actually. No, he's from Antiva. Never mind. Never mind. It's done.
You called.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Do you find Ferelden very strange?
To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Our farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are.
Don't the Canary ever want to change their lot in life?
What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell.
He might be happier.
Happiness is fragile. Nothing can be built upon it that will last. Only duty endures.
You don't think happiness is important?
You can learn to find it in doing your duty, in serving your people. There is no need to search for it. Shall we move on?
Is there anything you like about Ferelden?
There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly.
Cookies?
Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied.
I'll keep that in mind.
Shall we move on?
You sound a bit homesick.
Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own. To see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saheron. Tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs.
Why does everyone keep saying that? You left out rotting garbage.
True. I was trying to forget that part. Shall we move on? Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on.
Alright.
As you wish.
Plus 50. Wow! Alright, Sten. We're gaining your trust.
It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do.
How did you end up in Honolith? Do you remember?
Oh yes, that I remember quite well. My former master, the Mage Wilhelm, he brought me. As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum, snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it.
I would have thought you'd enjoy scaring humans.
I'd have happily stomped them all into paste, and then ripped down their little houses and stomped on them, too. In fact, after 30 years of watching them, I'd do it twice. What I didn't like was being ordered to do it. Dangled in front of those frightened morons like some scary thing. Once I was a statue, it took those villagers years before they'd even approach me. The first one to actually work up the nerve to touch me urinated himself. Ugh.
But why were you out in front of the tower?
That is where Wilhelm kept me. He wanted me out in the open where I could be frightening like a scarecrow. I was supposed to watch for thieves. Pah! Plus, his wife didn't want me indoors. She said there wasn't room for me. Hag.
You didn't like the Swallow, I take it.
He did love using that control rod. Fondled it so much, his wife actually threatened to throw it in the lake. Ha! I would have liked to have seen that. Which reminds me, where did it find the rod? Did it pay a great deal for it?
Willem's wife sold it, I believe.
Hag.
Do you remember anything before Honolith?
I traveled with the mage. He did a lot of traveling, I remember that. But where we went, it is rather fuzzy. I remember great battles, fighting many humans long ago. They were all very soft and squishy. And before that, No, there are only images. I was somewhere dark.
How old are you exactly?
I have no idea. Wilhelm used to brag that the dwarves stopped making golems centuries ago. I do not age as you soft creatures do. Sadly, my memory is no better. Plus, I get bored and stop paying attention.
Interesting. I'm done asking about that.
Good. I was just about done talking about it. It does like to have a good chat now and again, doesn't it?
Something on your mind?
I have some questions. What changes about you after the joining?
You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden?
You've been a Grey Warden longer than I have.
You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, "You'll see."
He wouldn't tell you?
Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret. It's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears.
I haven't felt anything like that.
Really? I saw you eating dinner the other day. Savage.
Yes, well,
Ah yes, the classy camaraderie of two men traveling out in the open. I take it you were like this before the joining, then. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep,
it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you?
I have had some strange dreams.
Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age.
Huh?
You've got 30 years to live. Give or take.
Oh!
Taint. It's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I hate you all so much. How cheery.
And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. Well, there you have it.
I never wondered that, but I understand.
You know, Duncan, he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him.
He will be remembered, Alistair, as well as the others.
I know. Ending the Blight should make this all worthwhile, right?
Morrigan, you still hate me?
I await your command.
So life in the wild must have been very lonely.
At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
And did they speak back?
Don't be foolish. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
I can't imagine Flemeth was pleased.
She was not. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
But you were just a child.
And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been.
But you don't need to live that way any longer.
Do I not? I am still an apostate mage, even if I have left the wilds. The Darkspawn are yet undefeated. No, there is much that remains. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
+1. I am loving this sword though. It is pretty epic. actually would be a good place to cut off. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next video.